There we go. There it is. There's me. Okay, BlueStacks works and OBS is no longer crashing. Thanks OBS for crashing, so I didn't have to decide whether or not to, struggle whether or not to refresh the stream at all. Let's continue. How's the Discord screen share going? It working?
Oh, perfect.
Excellent day. Oh, we're up to trial day 1. I'm scared. Now, do you remember anything about what we're doing? Because I only sort of do.
We're doing the Edgeworth case where we are trying to prove that Simon didn't do it.
Simon didn't do it. But we're not just proving Simon didn't do it. We're also proving Athena didn't do it. Because remember, she indicted Athena at the very end of it. I've only just remembered. At the very end, she was like, "I'm indicting Athena. Sucks. Right, you're not defending Simon. You're defending Athena." And it's like, what? Okay, what the fuck? How dare you?
We're defending 2 people.
Double defense. Double dereliction of despicable duty. Oh yeah, mate, we're also starting this on the same day, so because we're trying to get Simon not executed tomorrow. Pearl!
Oh, I forgot
I did a little research. I looked into those special sight clocks you mentioned, Mr. Nick.
You did? That's great. I really appreciate it.
A red sight clock protects a secret a person is consciously trying to hide. If the person falls under questioning, the lock breaks and the truth comes out.
Okay. Yep, that's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Fulbright and Director Cosmos.
But a black sight clock protects a secret from the deepest place in the person's heart. A secret that person isn't even consciously aware of.
That feels like a weird retcon. I liked it better when it was just because Gavin was just so malicious. But I guess it's like...
He's more fucked up and evil than he can even imagine himself.
Yeah, he just doesn't realize how fucked up and evil he is. So even they don't know it's there.
Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself.
Repressed memories, that's what we call those in real.
You? In real?
In real. Making myself a Nutella sandwich. Sorry, I'll try and be quick. They're doing my Nutella sandwich song. Making this Nutella stick to the bread.
Can't believe you don't have a system of mirrors in your house to see your screen from your option.
What? It's also like I just need both of my hands.
Can't believe you don't have a third hand that you can remove.
According to my research, a black sight clock is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart.
Around one heart.
If they are ripped off by force, it can cause permanent damage to a person's soul.
Oh no, that's not good. We don't want to do that. Man, if only we'd done that to Christoph Gavin though. He deserved it.
Oh, I would have loved that.
I would have loved that.
Can we work on that?
Work on that in, please. Let's just kill that.
Are we probably so?
It'd be great. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Gulp. Ooh. Pearls, could you stay by Athena's side? She must be suffering under the weight of such a heavy burden.
Alright, but will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick?
I'm up against Edgeworth. I have to be able to give this trial all of my focus and strength.
Oh, and you can't do that if I'm there.
Oh.
I'll just hold you back.
No, that's not it. I just meant I could relax and concentrate if I knew you were there with Athena. You're the only one who can do it, Pearls.
Alright. I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick.
Good girl. Sorry, am I making like noises like that myself?
No. That's the noise Pearls makes when she disappears.
Okay. Just because I was kind of going at stuff in my mouth a bit because I'm eating, and I wasn't sure if I was making that noise.
I would never make fun of you.
Oh, are you sure?
In my nature.
When you can.
Okay.
Probably. I don't know. I feel like I've opened myself up to something I'm not ready for.
This is the bully stream. Get ready.
I'm scared. Good. Now that my mind is at ease, I'd better get ready. Or I'd better get bullied. Just tidy up the evidence and take out what I don't need. Again? It's time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago.
Oh, it didn't do the noise.
District Court. Number 4.
Oh.
Defense, prosecution, and judge. There are even people in the gallery. The roof has been completely blown off and the walls have collapsed. But today, this ruin is my battleground. Want to see it? Oh my god.
Oh. Oh.
God, no, some flesh will. I don't know where that's written. It's
Why are you doing it robot voice?
Oh no! It's big. I was trying to get it set up because I saw the robot.
Is now in session for the trial.
I need the right one. There we go.
Not a freshie, you old man. This is a rip-off trial.
It's facsimile. Thank you.
Facsimile. I literally never pronounced that. Facsimile.
Yep.
Oh.
There you go.
Got it.
Take this more seriously or I'll start hearing the bones of those nap.
Please try not to upset Miss Blackwell. I'm begging you.
God is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sachs.
I love that there's like the broken lights in the back as well. It's so good. Like all the detail that they put into this is great. I'm genuinely in love with this.
This chair is so uncomfortable. Oh crap. But
This is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous fun.
what did you say?
Edgeworth, did you not hear what I just said to his honor?
However, this ridiculous farce has a very important meaning for our legal system. Call the case of the UR1 incident in which a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. That case ushered in the odious dark age of the law.
I see what you're after. We can find the real truth behind that case today.
Precisely, the darkness will be dispelled and glory shall be restored to the court system.
Prosecutor Edson, you sound as if you know something in this truth.
Spicy.
I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the UR1 case.
2 new suspects, but you know, bloody Aura only thinks there's one.
Or for 7 years, Simon Blackwell has refused to speak in order to cover someone else.
Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes.
I'm sorry, right, but the situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. The prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in the 1st degree.
Oh no. Ooh, we're getting an animation. Whoa, this is great.
Regardless of the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Then you better bring it. If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready. The prosecution is also ready.
Where did his gay glasses go? What the fuck? That's Erasure.
Oh, Earth. This immense tension between us. It's like we're picking up right where we left off. Damn, that was great though. I love seeing the little animations like that.
Oh, his glasses are gone, okay.
Yeah, because they're on his lapel. I mean, not his lapel, his
Wow.
pocket. His pocket. See?
Tat says she killed her mama's kid, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the whole thing we figured out
What
that
kids do.
possibly happened.
It's my duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of false accusations and end this insanity.
But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. I know without a doubt that Athena is innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage?
At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. We know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, the spy.
The true culprit is a spy. It's going to be hard to convince anyone of that when I barely believe it myself. But I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell and expose the spy. And for all we know, the spy could be disguised as anything, even this chair. Get ready to get backstabbed, Your Honor.
Now then, Chief Prosecutor.
Oh, Chief.
Yeah, that threw me for a sec.
Yeah.
No need for the chief prosecutor bit, Your Honor.
Aw. See ya, Tats. Have a good.
Bye. I'm here as a simple prosecutor.
Very well, your opening statement, please, Prosecutor. Although, I would do to give an impressive opening statement myself.
All the trials I've ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement.
Of course. Alright, I was just joking. Just having a little fun.
So he wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting.
Let's get started with a brief overview of the UR1 incident.
That was good.
The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago, on October 7th.
That's true.
7th the 7th, as it were. The victim, psychologist Mita Sykes, was killed on the robotics lab on the 4th floor.
Athena's mother.
Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One, Blackwell was the only person in the corridor to the lab at the time of the murder. And two, this photo, which captured the moment of the crime.
Very incriminating evidence indeed.
I should be using this time to make more sandwich for myself. You know when I don't have to talk.
Now, let's go.
It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed. Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of that kind. Guilty statement is over. Now, hurry up and call the witness.
Well, it's time. Jeez. Aura's real.
Oh, excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but you must follow proper procedure when you things you do.
Or perhaps we should heed their wishes, Your Honor. She is the trial sponsor, after all.
Sponsorship.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Besides, the courtroom is chilly. Sitting back for too long can't be good for your back.
No, you are very kindly not concerned for the welfare of the elderly.
That was great. As skilled as ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see. Very good. Edgeworth is very good at his job.
Edgeworth hasn't done anything. I mean, wait, Phoenix hasn't done anything. It's just Edgeworth.
Yeah.
The prosecution calls its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 7 long years.
New testimony? Just who is this witness anyway?
What?
Bobby Fulbright's the name in Justice We Trust. What are you doing here? I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Ms. Aura Blackwell. She says she's too busy, what with confining and threatening the hostages and all.
Yeah, understandable.
Doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in through Clonko.
I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best. I'm watching you.
Believing your brother innocent.
Robert Edgeworth.
Sorry, something in my throat. Believing her brother innocent, Miss Blackwell has been conducting her own investigation. And though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. Some kind of Big Bang Theory.
Oh no, the whole universe was in a hot,
Okay.
dense state.
I would sing the rest of the song, but I don't know it, thankfully.
I have here Ms. Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted, because I forgot I was speaking for Fulbright. I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go.
Imagine having lines. This is the Lucas stream.
This stream brought to you by Luca. And nobody else. Simon isn't the murderer, he was trying to cover for someone. Okay. Someone else was at the scene at the time. They say Simon committed the murder. Okay. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. Alright then.
One quote.
Yeah. And that's Ms. Blackwell's theory. It totally goes in the face of the official ruling, huh? There you go. Remember, I did notice the missing rolling case. That is a thing that I noticed.
You're right.
That is, but however, can't bin Athena though. About the case she mentions, there were other rolling cases like that one in the lab. But they're not for traveling. They're apparently for moving parts and equipment. I vaguely remember seeing 3 cases, all different sizes. At the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the rock. And they had a perfectly good reason to think that, too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab. And that camera captured footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case. I can see why that footage helped to bring his trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure. 7-year-old video updated in the court record. That case, by the way, was later discovered outside on the Space Center grounds. Look at the video there. There, the earring. It's definitely not relevant. Never will it be.
It's weird that we never see his face.
Yep.
I guess that's the crucial bit.
Yeah. I mean, hey, the spy can disguise as anyone, right?
Oh.
The Blackwell we know is the real Blackwell, but I don't remember for sure whether or not that's the spy or Blackwell that we can see in the things.
Right. Mystery.
Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found?
She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown where Miss Sykes was at the estimated time of death.
Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give proper testimony. And there was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been. So what you're saying is, Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi.
That is what the evidence is saying, yes.
I understand the reason behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. It makes you as the accuser's mother. You're actually claiming a nephew, Earl?
Of course. Girl had a very strong motive.
Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotions. You're aware of Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor?
Are you referring to that on the therapy thing? Yes, she's done it quite a few times in the court.
The ability to read emotions from speech and the subject of her mother's research.
Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem researching it.
I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit.
Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments.
Particular Edward, are you seriously suggesting?
I've done my best to be delicate, but if you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Miss Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother.
Ah! Damn.
That's no doubt.
Oh, look what a tragic story. I'm hardly want to believe it myself. But we must proceed. To write if you could. It's okay, all right. Please refer to the notes.
Or Blackwell's theory. So Prosecutor Blackwell willingly accepted a death sentence to protect someone else. Yes, that is precisely what Ms. Blackwell appears to believe.
And that is what I believe as well. Prosecutor Blackwell is no murderer, Mr. Wright.
This is true.
He's on my team. Why would he do a bad thing?
But Athena Sykes certainly didn't kill anyone either, Mr. Edgeworth.
So it appears neither of us can afford to go easy on the other. Fine, I'll expect no less.
The name that means the end? Excuse me? Wait, we already blew up the courtroom. Are you telling me we're going to blow up the moon as well?
Yes, I'm a big fan of that show, you know.
Well, so
In fact,
far.
I can yell. Oh. Wonderful, let me show you my Netroids.
No, remember this tense atmosphere? It's so infuriating.
I'm only reading notes here, but yeah. I feel extra invigorated too, so let's keep going. Someone else was at the scene at the time they say Simon committed the murder. But that's just speculation.
What is that objection? Oh no.
I actually don't mind that. It might not be his original objection, but that's actually decent.
Yeah, I can't remember what the old one actually sounds like now that I think about it. No, Miss Blackwell has proper grounds for her claims.
Then why didn't you say so in the first place?
You're the one who screamed, "Hold it!" and cut me off.
Fine, so maybe I jumped the gun by a teeny weeny bit. Now I know what they mean when they say close enough to argue. Moving on. Yeah, they're boyfriends. We know this.
By this? Yeah.
I mean, if you're the ones out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case? Oh, sorry. That's me. I was just taking a bite when you're about to read a line. Incredible. This rolling case, I suppose you mean the one that existed in the photo with Prosecutor Blackwell in it. There we go. But was absent when the crime scene photos were taken.
Yes, that's the one. And Miss Blackwell has drawn a conclusion from these two photos.
She has, and what is that conclusion?
You're the one with the notes.
Oh, right, of course. Reading them now. So why the rolling case?
It's so weird how like all Ace Attorney games do this thing where it's like they're saying it for the first time.
Yeah,
As I was saying,
because
it's like, what do you mean? You just already said this 10 times.
well, it's because it's treated as like it happening live with them saying it rather than us actually going over it over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
Because he was using it to hide someone inside. That's why. Nope. And how do you propose he hit a person inside one of those cases?
Have you forgotten what we just saw? Such a thing the only other day? Sorry, I added a word there. At your daughter's magic show, she fit a grown person into a small box.
Wait, Edgeworth goes to Trucy's magic shows?
Yeah, I'm a big fan, yeah.
Yo. Oh yeah. Way to ruin the memory of a good day.
A magic show? Who should have thought to invite me?
Actually, I would have liked to go too. My apologies. I'll invite you both next time, I promise. So, wait a minute. What were we talking about again? Prosecutor Blackkill was using the case to hide someone. The only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. Damn it. But that's something more than conjecture, and it's hardly the only possibility. In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case? I think it was the moon rock.
Oh wow, they just did it for us. There were 3 cases at the scene, but Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case if they had just moved that moon rock.
Objection!
Be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside.
Let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in that case?
Oh no.
Well, Mr. Wright, can you?
I'm gonna save the game now, because it's really we also haven't saved the game at all today yet, which is terrifying. BSS, very important. Yeah, just give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Just try to bluff my way through what could have been in that case. I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. Just had to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat.
No, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory, if it's true, that is.
The arm!
Oh! Nice.
This is a crime scene photo taken after Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All we have to do is compare this with this photo of Prosecutor Blackwell to see what's missing. If he took something with him, then it should be in one of these photos. Lady Luck, don't fail me now.
All right then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your theory.
Please notice that there is a robot part on top of the cart in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime.
You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture.
But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be? Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which...
Imagine Phoenix takes out like a whole sandwich.
I'm sorry.
It's Phoenix's way of thinking. It's canon. It's fine.
Okay, fine. I'll take it.
What are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance per eyeball.
Stingy, stingy. What happened to the age of free previews? Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be an arm from that robot there?
Well, now that you mention it, it does. But the case is still too big to be practical just for the bone rock and the robot arm.
Was it really just the one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe... I believe there was another robot at the scene that looks just like the one here. I'm gonna save the game. Your Honor, it is the defense's assertion that it was this other robot that was in the case.
What?
There you go. We just tripped into a thing that we could do. This is great.
Love it. We can't be certain that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of the one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in badging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
We have a photo. I know for a fact that it is a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belonged to, just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not.
Mr. Wright, I thought you were more of the technology literate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned.
Not to worry, Your Honor, I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belonged to. This one, yep.
Nice.
The robot in this picture is named Ponko. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Ms. Sykes who bandaged it up like that, like...
It... Oh. God, that's just like breaking my brain.
Yep.
You must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people. What an adorable, naive mistake. Might be my own grandchild.
The robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandaging wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko.
Order in the court order, I say. Prosecutor Edward, what do you have to say to this?
I can see that the robot arm is about the same size as a child.
The robot. The whole robot.
Oh, sorry. The robot is about the same size. But I cannot grab its knees and curl itself into a ball. Even if it was the largest of the cases, the room couldn't have possibly fit in there.
The case does come up to about mid-size Prosecutor Blackwell. Your point. The robot is much taller than that.
They've got me there. So then Prosecutor Blackwell made Ponko into the case by dismantling.
Right.
Of course Ponko would fit. All Prosecutor Blackwell had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case.
Use the robot assembly device.
Disassemble anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick?
It sounded rather violent, but Fred does have a point there.
Except that there was a body on the table where the robots are disassembled and dismantled, and assembled and disassembled and mantled.
Dissembled and mantled. And unmantled.
There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Oh. You never know. But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead?
Ooh. You mean the sword?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Blackwell, I'd like your opinion as a woman of science. Isn't it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart?
I suppose so.
You probably do her normal voice even, just through the robot filter even.
Oh, okay.
It's true, because we know it's it.
The droids are made of very tough material. A blade could slice through them.
That's true. Thank you for your expert opinion, Ms. Blackwell. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Ponko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation.
You can't mean that.
That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is instead a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by the bloody katana. It's true, see?
Oh, what the heck?
Most likely, the rest of Ponko is scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet.
Not hearing this.
Therefore, what was transported inside that case was not the defendant, but a robot. Miss Sykes never was at the scene at the time of the murder.
My head! My body! Where am I?
It's almost like she direct interfaces with it like VR style, damn.
She just puts on a fucking Oculus Rift. Folks, I know.
I don't know.
Hostage situation's under control. It's on a VR headset.
What?
Just in the middle of the VR of a hostage situation, she just puts on a VR headset.
I bet it's more like in like 2026 it'd be more like one of Sword Art's headsets, the one called the Animosphere, where it's really just kind of like it's almost like a kind of like headband glasses thing.
Yeah, it's a Google ass thing.
Kind of, yeah.
Hold on, look on.
It's true that Ponka was found in pieces after the murder. And I'll admit I repaired her myself afterwards.
Damn.
Whoa! That means
Yes, I'm finally making some progress. Hopefully I've gotten at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell innocent. There it is.
Well played, Mr. Wright. You've made your point abundantly clear. I can see that it wasn't the defendant inside the ruling case, but the robot.
Alright, what's going on here? It's never good when he plays things this straight.
There's a joke there somewhere.
There is a joke there somewhere.
Does the prosecution withdraws claim that the defendant was carried from the scene?
No, Your Honor. My claim hasn't changed.
But Ponko and Miss Sykes couldn't have both been inside that case.
The notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Miss Blackwell's theory. I have been of a different opinion from the outset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory.
There it is.
Love it. Thanks to the defense.
Edgeworth. He's been one step ahead of me this whole time.
In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene?
Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more... Love me some sassy edge. Good.
Edge good.
Edge.
Sassy
He
Edgeworth
held
is
his arm in
delicious.
front of his body as if he were holding something or someone.
That's true. That's hardly evidence.
I have proof. Okay, that's it. Surrogate. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing.
Thanks, Edgeworth. I wish you could have given us that beforehand, but you know. Also, hi, Monica. Monica friend.
The victim's blood was found on the front of it, and the stain was at a highly distinctive shape.
This is true.
It looked like Among Us.
A bloodstain?
Shut the fuck up!
Please confirm.
Are you
No,
really?
not-
Are you
not
really gonna
that.
do that now that Space Attorney is over? Oh god, there it is.
Type that so quickly.
They've done it before. They must have a keybind for it or something. Oh
Every
god.
keyboard should come pre-installed with a Among Us key now.
Shut the no. Ah.
7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item. Holy shit, that's powerful.
That is the best way to do it. To be honest, that is incredible. Ah.
Of which there is only one in the world. A special pair of headphones made just for her.
She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research.
Analysis showed the bloodstain to be in the exact same shape as these headphones.
You for real right now?
Huh?
I'm just like looking at it. I can't tell.
Oh yeah. Probably when you fold it together, maybe.
Maybe.
In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones and then was imprinted onto Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp.
A most gruesome stab indeed.
Gods.
Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by the splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was, without question, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument.
God damn it! When he does the bow as well. I
That's
think
adorable.
his
Love
fingers are clipping into his coat though.
it. They are.
I'm sad. It's almost perfect except for the clipping. Oh,
Video games.
video gaming.
Border! If the defendant was indeed at the scene, he possessed a suspicion against her.
Can see the coat as evidence. It is not.
Yeah.
But we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well.
I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer.
I don't really think that, no, but you can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time? No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case. But as it turned out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponko to the stand.
A robot witness?
Dude, we had a fucking parrot before. Come on, man. Like,
Yeah,
chill.
come on. But I was wanting this to happen. I'm glad.
God, what in the court? Prosecutor Edward, what do you think about this?
Mr. Wright has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years. So why not? Yeah, Robo Parrot, the ultimate.
Yo,
witness.
Robo Parrot. That's the best. That'll be the best
So why
one.
not a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore with him.
Very well. I will allow the witness. And if please with the robot named Pongo.
Belief.
Well,
Oh, I knocked the plate down on me.
me. Witness, please state your name and occupation.
My name is not Witness. My name is Ponko.
Yes, I realize that, but when you at the witness stand, you are the witness.
No, I'm not. I'm Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko.
For the inflexible little robot.
Unfortunate. You're the last person who should be calling anybody inflexible. Jesus, what does that
do you
mean?
mean by this?
What does that
Hello?
mean?
You remind me of my grandchild who just learned his own name. Oh, how precious.
What a time.
All right, Pongo. I'm going to ask you some questions.
Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions?
I want to know if you were there at the scene of the crime of the murder of Metis Sykes. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab.
Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab.
There it is.
It would seem that this robot's testimony is necessary to the case after all.
This is great. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important.
A murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. Inexcusable.
The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild.
So, Pongo, you think you can give us your testimony today?
Excitement.
Pongo, Pongo, little witness in the sea.
Okay. Great. I wasn't expecting that, but fair enough.
I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge.
Wow, great. Regular regog?
Sorry.
No, it's
My
okay.
regular recharge to never mind. I'm so vote-coded. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis.
You're always vote-coded at this point. It's great. I'm having a good time. Having a good time. Don't worry about it.
Excellent.
And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything.
Wait, what was that last sentence? My brain isn't there. Athena came in and hugged Mummy Metis. Oh.
After I
Okay.
charged up, I was cleaning the room and Miss Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There was no data error after that point.
Well,
Well,
Well, it sounds like the defendant was without question at the scene.
so let me just... I went to the thing at 2 p.m. just as I was about to do it. Athena came in and hugged Metis, and then Metis fell down. Okay, so, I mean, I think the implication here is it's like, oh, she hugged her and killed her, right? But it's like, actually, I think Metis was already dying, and Athena noticed and hugged her, and then Metis fell down.
yeah. That would make sense.
Yeah,
Just
I'm
because
assuming that's what
we don't
happened.
know what death is.
Yeah.
They're not programmed with mortality.
Wait, Hannah, I don't know if you actually read that previous line, sorry.
I got that.
So the film was without question at the scene. There we go.
However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder.
I disagree. This testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. 7
What?
News. At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that this witness is still a machine. Being a robot, its understanding and capacity to express itself are limited.
So, what are you suggesting?
Many things.
The witness's statements need to be interpreted. For example, the term hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child.
They do, but
Yes, what this witness's statements are telling us is that the defendant stabbed the victim with the murder weapon during this moment.
Isn't the murder weapon a katana? What?
Exactly.
So, child wielded katana. Problem is, it's impossible to prove that she could have held it at the time. Because it was 7 years ago.
Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse?
Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. Athena is usually so quiet, so I was surprised.
Spoke very loudly. We can interpret this to mean they argue.
I see, but after a heated argument, and then the victim fell down.
So he's being...
I
I'm sorry, you go ahead, you read that and I'll say it.
think that it does sound like a reasonable interpretation.
Yeah, that's actually the kind of thing I was thinking. It's like, honestly, like Edgeworth, I can see why he thinks that about this, because it's a pretty reasonable thing to be saying about, you know.
Both of your theories seem logical.
Yeah, we're both logical beings.
Beans.
Beings.
Yeah, well, Uncle doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that.
Go.
When I'm recharging, I go into sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory.
You may as well defeat now. Admit it. Right? A cross-examine would be useless.
Don't be ridiculous. A cross examination is never useless. I said crumps. Crumps.
It's like Xmas is pronounced Christmas. Now cross-examinations is pronounced cross.
Crossmas.
Until now, think about it. Robots don't lie.
It's a Dragonic Overlord the Crossmas. We just need a very festive version of the X and we're all good.
Yeah. This robot is both an important witness and valuable evidence at the same time.
Nevertheless, I will have my X examination.
I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time.
Very well. You made me waste your time. You may proceed. Right?
That's not right. Yeah. Cromsum. I just really need to make a photo edit of the cross, seriously. Just like Dio with like a fucking Santa hat.
I mean, it's almost Christmas after all.
But almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas.
Oh.
I bet you didn't see that shit coming, did you? I can't
I
stop.
say, well, it's good.
You did. And I just spiked it right in. Your regular recharge. What is that exactly?
I have to refuel my battery's power or else I stop working. I go to the lab to do that.
Hearing you do your but like with the vocoder is great. Next time you do whatever it is that you do to leave a Discord call, you absolutely need to do it while vocoded. You know, you always make like just a weird noise when you leave a Discord call. 100%. I need it vocoded for posterity.
That's the reward for the end of the stream.
Yes, for the end of this case, even.
Yep.
Or both.
So, that recharge occurred around 2 p.m., around the time of the murder.
That's right. I go every day at 2 p.m.
Gotta go potty.
I gotta go poo-poo.
I keep it regular to make sure I don't get backed up.
Oh no. I love poopy jokes.
We both do, unfortunately. Hugged her, huh? Which Edgeworth took to mean stabbed her with a weapon. You said the two of them were talking before Miss Sykes hugged her mother. Is that right?
Yes, they were talking very loudly, but I couldn't tell what they were saying.
Couldn't tell? Even though they were speaking so loudly.
I'm only allowed to listen to voices that are directed at me.
If it listened to every voice, it would be little better than a mobile eavesdropper.
Well, that explains why some of Panko's testimony is so vague.
It's a shame that our little friend wasn't listening in, however. We could have learned what they were talking about just before Dr. Sykes was killed. Now then, what happened after that?
I don't want to delve too deeply here, but... Could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment?
Mummy Meatus was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound.
Just realized that Mummy Meatus is the same kind of syllables in like composition as like Mummy Milkers, and I'm sad that I've realized that.
What have you brought upon us? What have you done?
Very bad things.
Taking psychic damage from this word.
I think, was it you or Bean that sent me that tweet that was like that wasn't very. Hang on, I think it was Bean, right? There was a tweet by someone who said, I searched Twitter to see if anyone had tweeted that wasn't very Mummy Milkers of you, and this is all I found, and it was that same person like 2 years ago.
Hell yeah. That's so good.
It was very funny. What the fuck? I thought you'd sent me something.
Nope.
Man, what a time. What a time to be alive. Alright. So a surprise from Shag to heard her heart pound. Her heart?
Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found on the robotics lab? These robots have a heartbeat detection system. It's like those animals in Kipo.
That's true. That is a series. That was a good series.
Yeah.
Now that he mentions it, I do remember watching, reading something like that here there. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But wait a minute. That means, if Dr. Sykes really did die at this moment, Panko, how was Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat?
Let's see, the moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging just then.
Oh, the unlucky timing. If you had heard anything after that, it could have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder.
I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry.
The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped.
Darn. Happens.
But it does appear that it detected an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing.
Yeah.
After Mummy Meatus' heart started pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. Sorry, I think I've lost some memory.
So after her heart started pounding, and so she fell by the Which window?
It was the round window on the workbench side of the room.
That's significant.
It is?
That's the wrong side of the room.
Workbench. Right. I mean, if you can visualize it, sure.
She died here. But that's the square window side.
Oh, you're right.
As opposed to the round window side with the workbench.
Got it.
The workbench, huh? Panko must be talking about that table to the right of where the giant robot is now. Is there something critical in Panko's statement? Yes! 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 Huh? What? Did you say BSS or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do it.
I wasn't sure if that's what you were saying.
I said yes.
Yes,
Rapid.
yes. Very much so. Absolutely fucking critical. Let's go. I can add it to the testimony. I don't remember what he said.
Very well.
It was just, yeah, I believe it's critical. I'd like it added to the testimony.
Uncle, could you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl.
The judge. What is he on about?
It's the baby.
Objection!
Bam!
Noise.
Bam! Bam! Ponko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough.
I was helpful? Hooray! I'm so happy.
Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, her body was discovered on the operating table.
But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations.
Exactly, Your Honor. We've just learned a new crucial fact. What could explain the two very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. The victim moved, I guess. Because she was alive. The victim moved because she wasn't dead.
Sure. I mean, the other option we don't want to pick.
Yeah.
So
An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult.
that as well. Yep.
Yeah. So the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Ponko observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder. There you go.
I'm very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of little Pongo here.
God damn it. That's what the judge cares about. Yes, as we just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother, nothing more.
Objection!
Right. It's been 8 years, but you're still just as green as ever.
In the gills. Green in the gills.
Really? But I can't recall ever seeing Miss Wright in anything but a blue suit.
Hey, blue's my favorite color. What can I say? We can change his. Can we change him to his like other outfit? I forget. I forget because I know we have two outfits for everyone. So, you know. Either way.
Is that the fucking stupid meme in my brain where it's like Phoenix Wright will never be green, and then it's like Windows Movie Maker color shift to make him green. And it's like spinning cereal.
All right.
Cool. I hope you liked it.
Great.
If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she could have moved it. She could have moved it for her.
Had it moved for her.
And
Moved for her, but Miss Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there.
I agree. Since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system, we've been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can't therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only one present.
Then who do you suggest move the body?
You know, it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things. Miss Panko, allow me to ask you a question.
My name is Ponko. Say it with me. Go.
Picard. Picard.
I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large into the operating table?
Yes, I did. Athena asked me to.
Athena asked you to.
Then what did he move, little Pongo?
I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is.
An ID tag, you say?
Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. Maybe robots can scan them to tell us what a thing is.
That paper in the lab did mention something about that. I'm gonna check something. I'm spooked. Yeah, she would have had one. She would have had one though.
Maybe.
I assume she had
Maybe
one.
they used the code to do it. We'll see.
I don't know. We'll find out. Investigating their spacesuit or uniform, jacket, ID tag. The same thing that I realized that bloody Ponko Oklonko was doing to Apollo. Apollo, remember? He kept saying that he was Clay.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr.
Well,
Terran.
what did Ponko think it was?
I don't know.
So, it would appear that Miss Panko here can't identify what it moved.
My name is Bunko!
But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not?
I love how he's just like not caring.
Apple.
Apple. Applos.
We do? Imagination?
What? What?
Well, I do at the very least.
I can't find a good. Hang on, can I find a good? There is no pawn. There's no pawn emoji in on Twitch.
Go
Okay.
ahead. Miss Panko, on the defender's command, moved the body onto the operating table.
Gah! Sorry, let's do the game rooms right. Or whatever, right?
The Game Grumps way?
I feel like when Game Grumps played, because they played the first AA game,
Oh, cool.
and
I haven't seen that.
I think that's what they made a joke that he was doing. He was going or whatever. I don't remember. It's been a couple of years since I watched it. Ponko, did you really
imagine
move
that.
Dr. Sykes' body? Sorry.
That's good. Your scream is what I imagine it is.
That's great. This is really important. Isn't there any way you could tell?
I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell.
Give it up, right? If the victim's heart was stopped, the robot's detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it and draped over a chair in the robotics lab. And only wore it on special occasions. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object.
Objection!
I mean, but Ponko is equipped with a facial recognition system. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes.
Just gonna put this ring.
Pardon? What? Okay. But she didn't, so that means...
Objection!
A face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. With the facial features hidden, the robot would have been able to tell it was Dr. Sykes, wouldn't I say?
He's right.
To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench, then using the robot, she moved the body to the table, where she removed the sword and was stained in blood.
Border. But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place?
You want a reason? Very well.
What? You can't possibly have an explanation.
Your emotions blind you to the truth. You could learn a lot from our robot friends.
Oh no.
Calm and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. Now then, do you remember the operating table as one special feature?
I believe that the robots can be assembled and disassembled pairs. Isn't that right?
That's right. And to the defendant, who was just a child at the time, the table was like a magic box that could make robots appear or disappear in seconds.
This is true. But in the end, my mum just put her on the operating table and fixed her in a flash. I was so impressed by what my mum did. I even asked her if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It looked just like magic to me, what she could do. Oof. You can't possibly be suggesting.
This young, sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people.
Take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up. That, like... Oh no, they even kept the...
No, not again.
Not again, not like this. Not like this.
She must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. Reminds me of my own grandchild.
No way. I refuse to believe it. Outright to refusal.
Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought that if a robot could be dismantled and vanish without a trace,
Prosecutor Edgeworth, if you're about to claim what I think you're about, I demand that you word it as deadly as you can.
with all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table
No, don't say another word. Just stop.
was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime.
That can't be. True. True.
Maybe she was trying to help her. Like, that's the obvious alternative.
Yeah.
Order in the court. Order in the court, I say.
Edgeworth, she was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing?
Horrible? Like I said, we're just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth, no more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a rational consideration of every possibility.
Damn. But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. It's conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her.
I suppose that could be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way.
What do you mean?
After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she didn't want to make it appear as if it had never happened. And that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation.
But
we mustn't forget the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant. The body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate the defendant's guilt, remain unchanged.
this just can't be true.
Mr. Brown, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim?
Evidence. Right. Let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence.
Since becoming a chief prosecutor, I've learned that the truth isn't always pretty. Now, accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered my own mother.
Jeez. Oh no. Oh no.
Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough.
What a tender and tragic conclusion. The defense has no counter-argument. I see no further prologue, no need to fool.
Close enough. Edgeworth's argument seems solid enough despite the judge's stroke, but there's no way Athena could have ever done anything like that. What do I do? There has to be something. But I can't think of a single thing. We're gonna get one of our miracle. Yep, there we go. Miracle objections.
It's Athena Sykes.
It's the boy!
Prosecutor Blackwood?
This is quite the farce you are conducting here. I could die from laughter.
Prosecutor Blackwell, what are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that your argument is based on an entirely false premise. Go on, we're listening. Could this be the miracle I need? What is Prosecutor Blackwell trying to pull here? 7 years. For 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. I'm the one who killed my mentor, and don't think you can alter that fact now. Your boldness, I will take to the stand, and I won't take no for an answer.
Of course, Prosecutor Blackwood. Please go ahead.
God, the boy.
Lovely.
The man, the myth, the legend, the Blackwell. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes, but when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was. Blackwell is very pog. He is at least a 9 out of 10, if not a 9.5. We love him.
Absolutely.
But little Pongo here witnessed the victim falling. In other words,
Objection!
I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened.
which would it be?
She fell means she fell. Merely that. A mother and child fooling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either, of course, meaning she must have left the room.
So the murder occurred after the time period Pongo described in her testimony?
Humph. You should hardly take stock in the words of a wind-up toy. Let me check the murder. Between 1 and 3, yeah. Like, it could have been, like, way after 2 o'clock. Jesus.
Objection!
Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something?
Athena was always tinkering with the robots on the operating table to amuse herself. And she always had Pongo move the heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Pongo moved a heavy robot for Athena. This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense, and yet...
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, are you trying even now to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we could bring the Dark Age of the Law to a close today?
Objection!
You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down into hell? Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over.
Are you saying that the little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder?
That's right. So let's hear your verdict. If we don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the Styx.
Don't you dare, Judge. Don't forget, I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her?
Miss Blackwell. Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor?
Blackwell? You selfish. Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. Then when there's a counter-argument, I will announce my verdict.
Is this really happening? Is it really going to end just like it did 7 years ago? No, because we know that there's a spy. We know that there was a spy.
August.
I wanted to do it so bad. Even now I want to fly out of here and go save him. No, I can't tell her. But how can I lie to Athena? If I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial. And I don't think Athena will ever forgive me.
Oh.
I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Shit.
Uh-oh.
Hold it.
Oh.
There she is.
Yes.
Athena, what are you?
go.
Are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear the voice of his heart. He's hiding something. If he really is, I could sure use Athena's help here. Let's do it. Her power might be just the thing to get us through this.
Objection!
Sykes, Dunno. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent. These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me, you know. What are you talking about? Do you remember that 21st night of September? Sorry. I'm sorry. Whenever do you remember it comes up like that. That horrible, horrible trial.
Hang on.
But for all we know, actually... Oh my god. I've just realised something. If the murder happened... No, the murder happened in October. Damn. So for all we know, it could have happened on the 21st night of November. But probably not, because the trials happened immediately. Did you just, like, eye me?
Yeah.
Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. He started screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in a courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. Not being heard, no matter how hard you try. Feeling so helpless. That's right, because she did freeze up, didn't she?
Yeah, like, in a really bad way.
Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out of that door even now. And yet, you found a way to keep your fears at bay and became a lawyer. Thanks. That's because one day, I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard, and I studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. This day has finally come. The day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction.
But besides, do you realize what it would mean? You are accused, Doctor. You prove Prosecutor Blackwell innocent. Then,
The only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what that truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. The chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years and to face the truth. Athena's being so brave, confronting her past like this. This might really be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago. Fine, but your efforts will surely be in vain, for I am not a man who can be cut down easily. Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart.
It's time for the ultimate psychology session.
We're gonna psychoanalyze the anti-psychologist. Oh gods, this is gonna be rough.
Right. I didn't think of it like that.
Oh, probably the happy here, right?
Yeah. I guess.
It feels right.
I mean, he was happy. He's.
If you alongside, we find the. Oh no, never mind. Damn.
Well, I guess what I was gonna say is he did want to do that. Is what he's testifying.
Yeah.
He's saying it was cathartic.
Yeah, but I mean, like the second, but I understand it the second time, but it's like I was like, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do it. I guess so maybe they're happy here, right?
Yeah, I love Bebby. Simon is great.
Yeah. He honestly,
I'm
like,
punk face, bro.
young Simon is great.
What was the one with maybe Happy on the second one?
I think Happy on the second one.
Mostly angry.
Yeah, I think it's Happy on the second one. There you go. This feeling of happiness. Even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy. Why is that? Simple, when I was looking for Athena and hadn't found her yet, I grew worried. So when I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merely that. What?
Oh, okay. It's that easy.
Just now, you said that you went to the Space Center to kill Dr. Sykes. But the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead? I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was just a part of my plan. Nothing contradictory about that. Okay, I think I've remembered something. I think the implication here that he came in to kill Dr. Sykes, and he wanted to make sure Athena was safe first. I think he's implying that the spy was disguised as Dr. Sykes at this point. And that he knew that and came to kill the spy. But he wanted to make sure that Athena was safe.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm right.
I'm happy to roll with that in my brain.
Okay. We'll keep rolling. We'll keep seeing what happens. We'll see what happens. Because it's been like a good 27 minutes since we BSS'd. God damn. Which is part of my plan. Nothing contradictory about that. Gah. The second I find an inconsistency, he cuts it down. Simon knows the principles of analytical psychology. There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities we can latch onto. I was afraid of that. We'll just have to keep chipping away at him then, bit by bit. Could you update his testimony, Athena? You got it, boss. No, I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes.
Aww.
When I found Athena in the robotics lab, I was relieved. I would not be swayed from my purpose.
That's new. Oh.
Not even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell. What? When you said that you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone who had laid in wait to kill her be sad at her death? Humph, such an obvious attack. Yes, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. I felt sorrow for Athena and her circumstances. Gah, he can't be talking about that, can he? I was just a convenient subject for her research.
Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments.
My objective was to save Athena from an obsessive scientist who treated her own daughter like a research subject. What? I went to the psychology lab first. That's where I would usually find Athena playing. But that day was different. I heard someone crying in the robotics lab next door. Was Athena being subjected to yet another experiment, I thought, as I went to see. Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill. So that's why he was relieved when he saw Athena. Is this story really true? I'm not sure how much to believe. Mr. Wright? How are you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there? I'm a lot stronger than I look, boss. Now, take a look at this. The noise level actually increased.
Ooh.
We've never had that before. It went up? I've never seen it do that before. Yeah, I just said that. Prosecutor Blackwell is lying somewhere in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's piling lie on top of lie in an attempt to make his claim sound more believable. So we're dealing with OG Ace Attorney logic, but in this format, which is good. I like that.
Yeah, what I was thinking was like, what if they did a Magatama X psychology?
Oh my god, that would be fucking incredible.
That would be so cool if that was like the final thing.
Well, reminder, they still haven't done Magatama X detect the lie according to, thing, right?
Yeah, it probably won't happen.
They really should though, because I feel like Magatama and psychology could mix up quite a bit better.
Intersection of spirituality and
science, yeah, of course. He's trying even harder to suppress his true feelings, and that's what's causing the noise. How in the world should I approach this? I can either use an evidence-based approach if I can find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should look for an inconsistency in his emotions. There are no flaws in my testimony, and his boldness is prepared to give his verdict. Give up on this lost cause, and let the floor free me of these chains already.
Objection!
I don't think so. Not while I'm around. Now, contradictory testimony or inconsistent emotions. Which should I tackle first? I don't know, actually.
Probably testimony?
But what can we
like-
do? Okay, let's present some evidence here. Got it, boss. But if you want to go back to looking for inconsistent emotions, just let me know. I can easily switch back. Crying
Oh,
next door.
cool.
That's very cool. Heard crying next door, of course I was worried. Here we go. I hurried over and opened the door to the robotics lab. Before I could lead Athena out of there, curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. Refused to hand Athena over, so I had no choice but to kill my mentor.
What was new about the second one?
Athena's actual crying and stuff was what changed, and
Oh.
just kind of the whole general like flow of the words and whatnot. I wish there was a switch button up the top, kind of like the whole, you know how there's like the whole ask for help button.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You go to the end switch?
possibly.
Yeah, I seen that. I love it.
I'd still consider this like an upgrade because it's like a combination of the normal method with the psychology method. This is cool. I do like this.
I don't know, maybe it's emotions. But I feel like if they bring up this mechanic, then they would we would have to use it for that.
If you find an inconsistent statement, present evidence to the contrary. Is there really a contradiction in his testimony, though? Mr. Wright? If we can't find any contradictory testimony, we could try looking for inconsistent emotions. Let's try his emotions, I think. Let's have a look.
Sure.
Okay, maybe we'd better look for inconsistent emotions now. Coming right up.
Oh,
This
yeah,
makes
that's
sense. I guess the sadness here?
that was the same as last time, though.
Not quite, that's the thing. It's also stronger this time. Let's give that a try. Nope, I was wrong.
Darn it.
I don't know, but I think maybe we made a mistake, Mr. Wright. I think maybe you're right. Let's take another look. Unexpected emotion here somewhere. I think the anger kind of makes sense. Huh?
What do you think of that anger?
I mean, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess it's just that it's new. But there's other new stuff as well. So we got like there's the shock in these, and the second and third.
Yeah, because it's so strong compared to this. Yeah, it's actually much stronger in the second panel. I'm not sure. I think that sounds right. Oh, I think we got something. How odd. Why would you register surprise at opening the door to the lab? Tch. All right, fine. I'll explain if I must. What surprised me was Ponko. That toy figure attacked me. Dr. Sykes knew full well of my plan to rescue Athena, but she couldn't stand guard over her daughter 24 hours a day. So Dr. Sykes had Ponko do it. That's right. She ordered Ponko to forcibly remove me on sight. So I slashed Ponko up with the katana that was there in the lab. Humph. That rickety old puppet wasn't worthy of that fine blade. Mr. Wright, it's happening again. There's even more noise now. Oh, fuck.
No.
It's 100% now. What's going on here? Whenever we find an opening, he covers it up with lies. We'll never get rid of the noise at this rate. It's pretty hard to keep telling coherent lies like that. His mind and will really are as sharp and strong as a katana. So I think we should now tackle testimony with evidence, in my opinion. I'm gonna make a save anyway, but like I think that's the right call.
What
what I was thinking was that there was blood on Bonko's arm, so it wouldn't.
Yeah, so that means that the murder had to happen first, or something had to happen first. That's also what I was thinking, actually. Yay,
Sweet.
we're on the same wavelength. Woo! Alright, let's give it a thorough check.
Info update.
Let's see what else changes. Nothing else changes, okay.
No.
We were right. We were both right.
Got it.
Compounding lies with more lies is never the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Take a look at this photograph.
That's the photograph of the supposed member of the murder, isn't it?
How many more times must I see that which damned me for my sin? The ironic thing is, I think this picture is actually going to be your savior now. See the bloodstain at the end of Ponko's arm where it was severed with the katana?
I hope you aren't telling me it's the robot's blood, Mr. Right.
No, most likely the blood was transferred there from the bloody katana.
The katana already had blood on it? So then it must have been on the victim's blood.
Oh, I hope this isn't the victim's blood.
Yummy.
What?
Yum. Oh,
Oh, I thought you said BRB, I wasn't sure, but in the judge
I
voice.
said yummy, yummy.
Yummy, yummy. Ooh. Almost like a chill sandwich. Sorry, I had to. I had to. But Resident Evil 1 lines are in my brain now. That's right. But if that's the case, we found a glaring inconsistency. You said in your testimony that you cut up Ponko and then you killed Dr. Sykes. But in spite of that, the victim's blood is already on Ponko's arm in this picture.
What? What that could be?
Exactly. In order for the blood to have transferred from the sword to Ponko's arm, the victim must have been stabbed first before the robot was slashed. In other words, Prosecutor Blackwell, your entire testimony is nothing but one giant ball of lies. Ah!
Got him.
Tell the court the truth, Prosecutor Blackwell, now. You have no idea what you're doing. His voice. There's so much discord. I'm hearing not just one or two, but a bunch of rampaging emotions here. It's hard to describe. It's like a violent whirlpool or something.
When I hop in
Oh my
the
god.
Discord channel.
Oh my god. Phoenix Wright, you will pay for this. I'm genuinely worried that he's about to fucking break the thing with his hand. Never have I
just gonna
been
tear it
forced... Yeah, pretty much. Never have I been forced to reveal so much, but the rest I'll take to my grave. Prosecutor Blackwell, you are on the witness stand. You are obligated to tell the truth. Isn't that the rule of the courtroom? All these complex emotions. They seem to be flowing from one source. I think whatever he really saw that day is what's causing these feelings. Here we go. Rampage mode. Yes! This is what we needed. Shot that terrible scene. Or I could lead Athena around over there. Curse my luck, Dr. Sykes came in. To kill my mentor.
Probe that shit.
I guess robotics lab?
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, it must be, right?
All you got.
I don't know if that makes any sense. Root cause of all these emotions is this. No, okay, that's the failure one. You're stuck in a particularly big reading there, Mr. Wright. Guess that's not it, then. I'm not sure. Because I said this scene, and I was like, I'm not sure what the means by this scene.
I think it'll be Ponko, because, like, he intentionally tried to get Ponko out of the picture as soon as possible. That lie.
Nope. It's not
damn.
Ponko. Damn.
Is it himself? I don't know, or I guess he's the least likely
Athena?
one.
Athena! She's covered in blood.
Oh! Yeah.
Athena covered in blood? Here we go.
Got it.
When you opened the door and saw Athena, You became overwhelmed by your emotions. Isn't that right, prosecutor? Yeah. Oh, you made me food? Thank you! I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting a salmon. Bean, I love you. I have the best soft girlfriend ever.
Love it. We love to see it.
Yes, even though you can't right now.
I need to go get my own food.
Okay. Thank you, Ben. Damn, I got some like French fries and salmon, but like home cooked, all of it. Good shit. I'm excited. Nah, you should know better. Though it's pathetic, I admit I'm terrified to speak of it. Prosecutor Blackwell, Ms. Sykes is innocent. I will always believe that with all my heart. Yes. Yes, salmon is very fucking good. I seriously love just, I don't know, salmon. It's good stuff.
Salmon is like the best.
Now, can't you find it within yourself to believe in me too? Athena is
Believe in me
innocent.
that believes in you.
Can you honestly say you believe that to be true? Right, Donna? I give you my word. Now tell me what you really saw when you opened that door. Curse you, Phoenix Wright. Oh, the zoom away. Oh no. Are we going to see a cutscene or no? It was a tragedy. One I'll never forget. When I arrived at the lab, Dr. Sykes was already dead. Okay, so Dr. Sykes is dead. I'm going to save right here, because we just cracked it through this, and I just want to...
Sure.
Okay. Let's analyze this. She was lying on the operating table, while the bloody katana lay on the floor. And standing between the two, covered in blood, was Athena. She smiled, with a far-off look in her eyes, as she sweetly said... What? What though? Something's wrong with Mum, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. Jeez. That's what I saw, and now you have it. The truth that you so desperately wanted.
Damn.
No. Prosecutor Blackwell finally tells the truth, and this is what it is? It's beyond devastating. I tried to take my mother apart? Oh god, Athena. Oh no. I still don't think she did it. Phantom did it. Phantom did it. Athena, it's alright. We love you. We believe in you. This is a true case of Phantom did it.
Yeah.
And that bitch is gonna pay. He's gonna pay with his goddamn life for this. So it was me. I'm the one who killed my mother. No, it wasn't you. Athena! Oh,
As
no.
I said, right? The truth isn't always pretty. Murder, disassembly on an operating table, a scientist using her daughter as a guinea pig. Sadly, it appears that my theory was correct after all.
It's true that Athena didn't like her mother's research, but you dare cast aspersions on my mentor by claiming Athena was used in such a manner? Dr. Sykes could be awkward with people, but she loved her daughter with all her heart. She loved me? Your mother hated to see you suffer because you could hear the voices of people's hearts. She wanted to set you free of your pain, so she worked tirelessly on her research. Do you remember those headphones you hated so much? Yeah, they like cancel out the noise, right? Make it so she can actually have peace. Yes, my head hurt every time I wore them. No, Athena, it's just the opposite. They emitted sound waves to nullify emotional input from the voices of people around you. Your power was much stronger than it is now. And those headphones were what enabled you to carry on with everyday life. No, that can't be true. Then why? Why would I have done something like that to somebody who loved me so much? Her love for you was real, that I can guarantee. That's why I knew that what happened had to be some kind of mistake. I couldn't let you be punished for it.
So you took the blame yourself? You and your mentor are more alike than you knew.
Ponko was a witness, so I put it in the case, held Athena close and vacated the lab. I threw Ponko away in the boarding lounge trash chute, and I hid the case on the Space Center grounds.
It would seem that we now have all of the facts of this case.
Except we don't. Except we don't yet. We're not there yet. We're so close. We're so close. No, not yet. It can't end like this.
Do not disgrace yourself, Mr. Wright. The truth has been revealed. Or are you the type of man to turn your back to things that disagree with you?
I'm not. But this... I can't give up now. I have to say something even if it's a bluff. I've always managed to pull through that way in the past. I have to make it work. The defense is prepared to present evidence. Mr. Wright. Yes, Athena? It's okay. You can stop now. I don't want you or anyone else to suffer any longer for my sake. Athena, what are you saying? I killed my mother. That's the truth. It's just like Prosecutor Edgeworth said. We have to face it, no matter how much it hurts. I admit my guilt. But could I please be granted just one chance to tell everyone what I recall?
It appears Miss Sykes is much braver than you, Mr. Wright. What say you, Your Honor? In light of her courage, will the court give Miss Sykes this opportunity to confess?
Very well. Then, if you would, please take to the stand, Sykes.
We have to cross-examine her. That's the only way we're going to find out.
Unveil the truth.
Problem is we can't do her analysis thing without her, I think. Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end. Oh no. Athena!
Prosecutor Blackwell will be cleared, and the dark age of the law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt, and bring everything to its conclusion.
I killed my mother. My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Your Honor, please find me guilty.
I dare say. These are all memories that no one but the murderer would have.
Unless...
Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough.
Unless
Unless?
she wounded the Phantom.
Yes.
Yes.
But before we conclude, does one have a counter-argument?
La Fantoma. La Fantoma.
Let's fucking go, Apollo.
That was Phoenix. I do, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright?
But, Mr. Wright, why? I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter-argument now is pointless. Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. Athena, you are not a murderer.
I said that you never changed, but you have actually regressed in these 8 years? I would stand for your childish emotionalism getting in the way of the truth.
Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on matters of the heart, Edgeworth. What does that mean? Because I can see straight into a person's soul. Here it comes. Magatama! Magatama!
I did a little research. I looked into those special cyclics you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself.
She thinks she did it. She didn't, though.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a chance, somewhere deep in Athena's heart. There might still be a memory that not even she knows about yet. Might be like looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos, but still. That memory might contain a new fact that could prove her innocence.
I hope everyone think that you are not just bluffing, Mr. Right. Now, is there not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession?
Memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. Remember the weight, the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. There's definitely something wrong with her memory of the event. I can just tell.
If there's a problem with her confession, please prove it to this court now.
What?
I know what it is, I think. It's the blade, the sword, because it's not, it should have blood on it. The handle, I mean.
Blood on the handle. You're absolutely right. That's incredible.
Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim?
I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor. But I remember it. I remember holding the weapon and getting blood on my fingers. That's exactly my point. If blood really did get on your fingers while you were holding it, there should be blood on the handle. Please focus on the handle of this sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. And therefore, this is clearly a contradiction of the facts. You're right. Hello? You missed on the oh my. My goodness.
Oh, sorry. Was good. The defendant must have simply confused a portion of her memories.
Incorrect.
She mentioned it was hazy to begin with, and we can't mull over every minor detail.
But she also said, there's no question I remember it, a fact we can't ignore.
In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means?
Gladly. Just give me a sec to think of something. Hey, give me a sec to think of something too, jeez. Good call with the sword, by the way.
Thank you. I did. In those situations, is it fine if I just do the answer? Like, would you prefer to figure it out?
Did you actually look up the answer?
No, I just knew it.
Oh no, that's okay.
Hey, logic.
I don't mind both of us like working on it together. That's the point.
Okay, sweet.
I kind of like this back and forth of just like sometimes I get it, sometimes you do. That actually just helps me out.
Sweet.
Let's see. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone, but she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix, think. What could the contradiction with Athena's memories mean? The defendant used a different weapon. The defendant used a different weapon. Yeah. Miss Sykes said blood flowed down the handle, but the katana's handle is spotless. So, doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana?
What are you up to this time?
This is it. This time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Dr. Sykes' life was the katana, that much is sure. So if I can show a possibility that Athena didn't use the katana, it could help me prove her innocent.
A different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be exactly?
Right, of course he would ask that.
I can see that you're floundering, Mr. Wright. You speak without thinking again, as always.
I'm guessing she used one of those little pocket knives, basically. Essentially, but she used it to stab someone else. How does he do that?
Exactly.
I can't back down. Not here, not now. That's right. I did. Because it's so obvious it doesn't require any thought.
What did you say?
Okay, so maybe that was an exaggeration, but there has to be something. There's no other blade weapon in the robotics lab that day. There's something in one of the crime scene photos.
Syringes?
I don't know. Wait a minute. There is something. There's a high probability that that was in the lab.
Can you check the evidence? What does the moon rock look like?
I don't have that particular weapon here in evidence right now. Damn it. The moon rock is like black and gold, essentially.
Is that like pointy enough to be used as a weapon?
No. No, that wouldn't have been it either. I don't have that particular weapon here in evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's the pocket knife. Other than the katana, this is another blade that may have been at the crime scene.
But that's the one weapon in the Clayton place.
Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Terran's life, but there must have been a knife just like this at the scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this are issued to Space Center employees, and a robotics lab especially would naturally have one of these around.
but besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. It was in the investigation report if you didn't know.
Of course I knew that, once you told me just now.
Then here's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene, but it didn't contain any blades. Here's a photo of its contents.
Yep, it's missing the...
Are you dumb? Why do you just say there's nothing and then it's obviously missing?
You're right.
Yeah, it's the A in Gyaxa. Oh, I didn't realize.
Holy shit, yeah. Huh? Or they rearranged them.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're right. I don't see any kind of bladed tool.
Fine, but isn't there something odd about the design of these handles?
Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room.
Incorrect. Correct.
We've already solved this.
I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife.
It's like the opposite of a logo kit where they give you extras, they just give you an extra empty space in case you have a knife.
Pretty much. Reduce
What
without
proof do you have of that?
Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth.
You're the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetic sense.
Now, you seem to be watching out for your okay now. Please proceed, Mr. Wright.
Notice that the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them.
I see that they do, but what significance does that have?
It's clear that one of the tools is missing from this kit. If we rearrange the tools into a specific pattern, we might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing.
Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetics helped you come up with?
Edgeworth, just let it go, man.
Show the court then, if you would. What pattern or design would we see if we were to rearrange the tools?
Probably the fucking that, right? I imagine that's the pamphlet.
Yeah, go with the pamphlet. It could also be that last one.
It's gotta be. We have the pamphlet for a reason.
True.
And what design is that supposed to be?
The Gyaxa logo, Your Honor. It's on all of the Space Center's documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, Gyaxa is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. Look at how brightly the Gyaxa logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway. Gyaxa. Gyaxa, in case nobody knew Gyaxa.
You all heard about Gyaxa?
Buy Gyaxa. Buy shares in Gyaxa.
This stream is sponsored by Gyaxa. Gyaxa, the only space operation that's also an amusement park.
We should just make like a fake ad and have that play sometimes when we're on break.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's great.
That's so good. I really dig the stars and rocket motif it's got going. Gyaxa, huh? Isn't that the new name of the Federal Space R&D program? Gyaxa.
I think I should know, Pat.
Yes, with just the tools shown in this photo, the red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the Terran case comes into play. If we were to place the utility knife in the open slot...
Gyaxa!
It's everywhere! It would complete the Gyaxa logo!
So it would. Then that means...
I mean, salmon. Admit it, Mr. Edgeworth. My aesthetic sense is keener than yours. And while you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one.
This is what gays say to each other when they're battling.
My aesthetics are better than yours, damn right.
Classic punchline.
Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers couldn't be that of Dr. Sykes.
Very well. Let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use the utility knife. I think he's figured it out just like we have. Tell me, how does that change anything?
Come again?
What if the katana was being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was the utility knife?
Hey, Claudia.
Yes, Claudio!
Don't be ridiculous. Are you changing the premise of your entire argument?
I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your life.
Oh no.
Miss Sykes could have put blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon.
Give me a second. I'm just slicing salmon with my utility knife.
Yummy! Did you say utility knife?
Yeah, I did say that.
And then concealed the knife on her personage until Blackwell carried her away.
That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and the evidence.
If, in fact, the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cool hand.
Did you just say dealt?
Dealt. I invented it. For you've just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us using your own logic.
Objection!
The prosecution is attempting to lead the court.
Objection!
You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright. By forcing us to forget the facts of this case. I remind you that there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hand.
No.
It is not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife. As long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother.
Except it wasn't. Objection! Oh my god, unfortunately. We can't objection yet. I'm sad. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I just keep remembering a lie. That's one of the enemy death sounds from Lost Planet 2, I think.
Oh, yes.
You remember, right? It's just burned into your brain too.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if.
Oh, you're really starting to get it. Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true.
Ah, yeah, it is positive. Positive charge. No negative charge.
Aye. Got it. And the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs.
It belongs in a museum.
Museum! Phoenix, right? When will you open your eyes and accept the truth?
Yeah. Yeah. I love how just over the top it always does these bits. I love it so much because it's so
never gets old.
never. It both does and doesn't. Oh no, a new animation? Yeah.
Classic.
I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. Yeah. But what if?
Mr. Man, fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do.
Is giving up really the only option? Ah. So, what happened was, the hug that Ponko witnessed really was Athena attacking someone. But the person was wearing, like... Yeah, because there's the slash on the side of the jacket, right? But it's the opposite side of the jacket to... It's the opposite side of the jacket to the murder side. So, the Phantom was wearing the jacket.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%. So, the murder side of the body is... So it's kind of the middle, maybe like left side is kind of where we've seen it, right?
So the jacket is bottom left.
The jacket is bottom right. Where is it? Bam.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, right.
It's for us, it's bottom left. Because we are eternally trapped in the bottom left, as you know.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Can't believe this.
It's time. No! Snap out of it, Phoenix! What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt. I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It isn't over yet.
Right?
I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her, to the very end. A defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for... Ooh, I keep burping, it's annoying. I think I need water. Because I emptied my water bottle, unfortunately. I did a whole drink. I'm gonna get some water.
Okay.
Time to rethink this case thoroughly, except it's a lie because we've already thought this case.
I'm gonna go to the toilet in that case.
All right, I'm gonna make it a quick break, just 5 minutes. Shouldn't be long. Ah, we should be unmuted now. Ah, there he is. And we're back.
Let's go.
And we're back. Tried to rethink this case thoroughly, except we just thought about it. We're doing the thing!
Yeah.
I concede the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with the utility knife. This must have been what Ponko witnessed as Athena's hug. Hey again, welcome back. Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. Yes, I love this thing, it's very cool.
It's so good.
This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken the utility knife from the lab? If I trust in Athena, I have to conclude there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. So how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? I know this person must have fooled Ponko's facial recognition by covering their own face? Their own face. Wait a minute, Ponko has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponko would have still detected their presence. She wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it. Couple could have covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection? Probably Mita Sykes? I assume. Person posed as the victim. If the culprit posed as the victim, that would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. Her jacket.
Nice.
The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it. But that still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. That means the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by that time. If that's the case, who did Athena stab? The real culprit.
Let's fucking go!
Athena stabbed the real culprit. I love this shit. That's it! The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit.
Fucking nailed it.
Damn.
Now that Mr. Red has finally finished his Mind Palace shit, that was like a whole minute. Let us bring this to a swift end.
It is a really cool mechanic, and I hope it's in all future AA games, to be honest. I know it must be in 6, right?
Probably, yeah.
Because this deserves to be in, like, all of them.
Hopefully it's in Ancient Attorney.
Ancient Attorney Lamau.
I forgot. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to the hostage negotiations.
You are absolutely right, Prosecutor Edward. I'm hereby.
Yep, hang on.
Stop.
I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second. Because I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But now, I know for a fact that Ms. Sykes is innocent. But Ponko saw me.
It is?
She witnessed the moment of the crime.
Right.
Ah, rip. Give me a sec. Yes, Ponko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother.
What do you think, Mr. Wright?
It's time, bitches. The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes.
What?
Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. What did he mean by that?
What do you mean, what did he mean? Swallow that explanation.
Move on. According to the robot's statements, there was no third person there. Do you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time?
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence?
You make that pose all the time, regardless of the fact.
Conko's strange malfunction.
Mr. Terran, you look so pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay?
Mr. Terran? But that's Apollo you're talking to.
Oh, this hungry drunk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay.
Came up.
Maybe Apollo was possessed by that Clay's ghost.
That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Klonko couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Really? Just the eye patch?
Okay.
Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify the robot's facial recognition, and then all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as him.
What a ridiculous theories. What good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them.
I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating.
What?
Does that mean?
Yes, Your Honor. The person Ms. Sykes stabbed, this third person who was posing as Dr. Sykes, is her mother's real killer.
But that's... I'm impossible! I thought he was saying I'm, but he was saying
Im. Of course he's saying Im. There's no apostrophe. Come on, man.
Oh, you're fucking right.
A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask?
Order in the court.
Miss Sykes, did you say something? No, don't mind me.
A mask? Yes. I remember a... Ah!
Wait, was that the thing on the stand?
Athena, what is it? Yeah, it is. Hang on, let's...
I don't know if it's in the photo, but it was missing.
That. Oh,
Oh,
there's one of them
shit.
at least.
Okay.
What else would show us?
I think that's it.
Oh no, I want this. No, there was only the one. I
There,
guess.
that's the picture I was thinking of.
Yeah. Well, it's still there at the end, so.
Right.
What is it? I remember a man with a mask. How could he? What did he do to my mother? My head. Reading these lines are hard. To be honest, reading lines like
Right.
that, it's hard to do like the right emphasis of emotion and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Voice acting is not easy. That's the thing.
It really makes you appreciate like how professionals.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's also just like I just don't want to shout and make all the like I'm not
Yeah,
in a voice
yeah.
booth. I'm in a play. I'm in an apartment. I don't want to like. There's still people who it's just like I don't want to
Yeah. All good.
feel good on people.
You alright?
Not that I think I'd be good at it even if I was in like a voice booth or something, but still.
All good.
Oh no. The Black Cyclops. They're breaking. Kaboom! It's all coming back to me now. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered. We get a video? Can we get a video?
Oh.
Done. So I wanted more anime content. They're gone. The Black Cyclops are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's all right, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, and then... Ugh. Gah. It's all right. I'm here. You're safe, Athena. She was on the floor, by the workbench, with the katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there.
Man?
Quiet, Your Honor. Go on, Athena. He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there, and... he dodged it first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again. And this time you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me, and I passed out. Yeah, pretty much.
Great.
Look, to be fair, in a situation like this, it's like you're like I feel like Phoenix has earned enough credit at this point, and the scene is very important enough that it's like the judge would feel like, okay, yeah, no, that's valid. To be honest,
You know what?
you know, I'll take it. And then he kicked me, and I passed out. Utility knife updated. The Phantom! There it is, boys. It's here. When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I asked Ponko to move her to the operating table. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Ms. Sykes arrived, a man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit.
Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was?
No, I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Ms. Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that? Yes. The mask, it was my mum's Japanese theatre mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall of the lab.
No, I think this mask hangs here on the wall.
It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mum used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. A phantom?
It would seem
Damn.
that a new suspect has emerged. And that means all suspicion against Miss Sykes has...
You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Being Sykes is the murderer, I won't accept any other verdict.
Ms. Blackquill! This is not good.
A new suspect? Where's the proof this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess's groggy little head?
Ah, she's right. We don't even have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence. Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Athena, I'm so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back now. So, I'd like to say one thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab at about 2 PM to recharge.
I went to the robotics lab at about 2 PM for my regular recharge.
So literally the thing that was just said. Great, thank you.
But just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mummy Midas. And then Mummy Midas fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything.
There we go. I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Midas really was really the killer in disguise. Right. Then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 PM. If anything here in the evidence that can help me find this person who came to the lab before 2 PM. No? No? No?
Got to do with Ponko? Somehow it's got to do with Ponko. I don't really see how.
I literally have no clue. I...
Is it that Ponko would know the face? Now that, like, now Ponko registered the face?
I don't
I guess
know.
they got a mask on, that's alright. No, I got it. Sorry, my logic's busted.
All good. No. There was nothing here and here, there was nothing here. Oh my god, what? I mean, the slash. Wait, hang on. Wait, the slash? The slash in the jacket. I'm gonna present the jacket. I'm saving and I'm gonna present the jacket. Let's do it. Let's go, all or nothing. Damn it! Wait, no. We'll reveal the identity of the person who came to the lab. Shit, I think that was the wrong one.
Darn. Will it now? Then reveal away, by all means.
Oh, how about if we team up for this, Mr. Edgeworth?
Nope.
How about you, Your Honor? What do you say?
Certainly, none of them. I'll help you to remember to think before you speak.
Menacing judge is the best judge. Owie zowie! Tag teamed by Lemon Juice and Paper Cut. An image of the culprit. Possibly have been captured anywhere. What do you mean? What? Wait, an image of the culprit. No? What? What do you mean an image of the culprit? No? No? What are you talking about, game? What the fuck?
Cameras? What? So I'm confused. Why did they bring up Ponko earlier? What were they saying with that?
It was the fact. It was the mention of how, like, she said about it was just about the hug, just repeating the hug and stuff. I don't know. What do you mean?
What does that have to do with this though?
Is there it's basically, yeah, it's literally we're trying to find out, could an image of the culprit possibly have been captured anywhere? Do I have anything here in the evidence? Wait. No, because I did that already. I did this one already. I was thinking like that person maybe, but no. Image of the culprit. No, what? No?
Try the Ponko recognition. Because my theory about the face recognition.
Nope.
Oh. Hello.
Okay, well, fuck.
Ooh.
Owie zowie. No, an image of the culprit wouldn't have been... What do you mean? What do you mean? I mean, I guess the videotape?
Blackwood was the only one to pass through at the time.
Yeah. What? That was it!
Oh, I guess... Oh, because we assumed it was her in the earlier footage.
No, because it's because we're saying that... Because we know this was definitely Black Quill leaving with Athena and Ponko, but it's like, well, we just look earlier. Okay, fuck us, I guess.
Yeah, that's... Okay.
This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident, around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before then?
No, I don't see anything in the investigation report. Looks like they just didn't check.
Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene.
Very well then. Let's take a look.
There, please stop it right there. There, stabbed hand.
It's just like you said. There's a man leaving the scene of the crime.
And there's the jacket's been slashed and the hand has been stabbed.
Conclusive.
Inclusive? What? What?
Conclusive.
Oh,
sorry.
conclusive. At least, okay, I was confused. Miss Sykes, do you remember this person? That's him. I'm sure of it. He's wearing my mother's jacket. Oh yeah, see, I was right, but like, okay, I just didn't understand what it was talking about.
I mean, you weren't right.
I mean, I was right that the jacket showed that it was the... you know what I mean?
You were half right.
I was like right about the wrong thing. I didn't understand what it was asking me specifically. I didn't essentially.
Yeah.
I either way, I was wrong. I'll take I was wrong on that. Fine, sure. Fine. I did, but what I really wanted to see was her jacket. That jacket on display. That was Dr. Sykes? Can you see it? There's the slash I made with the utility knife that day. And I'm sure that knife is under that jacket somewhere.
So then, everything Miss Sykes said.
Exactly. It proves that Ms. Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. He killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and mask that were there in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponko charged up at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Ponko to come to the lab for her regular recharge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Ponko into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up to that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death.
It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that's just not possible.
What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in this photo.
And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket at the scene confirms beyond a doubt that it belongs to the victim.
Oh no, it was at the scene.
The person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket. Then how could it possibly have wound up back at the crime scene?
What's going on? That doesn't make sense. That's right, if the culprit was wearing the jacket, how did it get back to the lab? The defendant brought it back, maybe.
Oh? Maybe. Yeah.
No.
I mean, maybe Blackwell did it.
But Blackwell is not an option.
Oh yeah, well, I think it's the killer, right? Because if he's a spy, then he could do it undercover. But I don't know.
Let's just make a save, and then... Because we're getting close to death here.
The victim? No.
The victim was dead.
Why would she do it?
Because it was... I don't know. Let's select the killer then. The killer uses the jacket as a disguise to make his escape. But in order to conceal that fact, he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
Except that it would have been impossible. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body. And they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, then when do you propose the mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket?
A puzzling question indeed.
The culprit had the chance to return the jacket.
When
the body was found.
He was one of the people that discovered it.
Yeah. The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found.
Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument?
I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body.
I would never have thought of that. Order in the court. What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth?
The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the space probe's capsule in preparation for the Hat-1 launch. One of those people had a special bag to transport the capsule in.
Oh, you mean the shock-resistant bag?
Correct. I suppose that if the jacket was in that bag, it would have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing.
There you go.
Hey, I'll see to it that you get the report on those 3 people.
You will?
We should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. If this person felt the need to hide his face with their mask, it might mean that his facial data was once registered.
Prosecutor Edgeworth? Does this mean...
I have to admit, I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You win, right? Not say for an official trial, anyway.
Do my ears deceive me? Prosecutor Edgeworth? Are you actually conceding?
There you go. Is it true, boss? Does this mean I'm... I can't believe it. It's over. I won. That's a real... That's a real I don't believe it, we won moment from fucking Halo 2, remember?
For real, yeah.
Kaboom. I proved that both Athena